Meanwhile, a type 1 diabetic athlete has been inspiring the diabetic community by his decision to run across America. Coming up, we're going to talk to Don MUCHOW about his journey.
I have a very special guest in studio. The type 1 diabetic community is being inspired by an ultra runner who will be running from Disney to Disney World. Joining us now this morning is 57-year-old Don MUCHOW with all the details of the journey as a type 1 diabetic athlete. Don, welcome.
Good morning.
I admire your intestinal fortitude, just being around all those delicious donuts in the break room. You did not even give them a look-see.
I didn't want my Dexcom to alarm. So.
All right, I understand. So let's talk about, first of all, when do you start?
February 1st at 6 a.m. in Newport.
And you are going to try to log how many miles per day?
About 30 to 35 miles.
And how many days is that going to take you to get to the other side of the country?
Counting 11 rest days, it'll be 96 or 97 days if weather allows.
So we're talking about being on the road more than 3 months.
That's about right.
What's your support team going to look like?
My wife, Leslie, is driving the van, cooking, doing medical, logistics, social media, all the hard stuff.
And she's over there doing some social media for us right now. Why are you doing this?
When I was diagnosed in 1972, I went for 32 years without exercising because I was afraid of dangerous low blood sugars. And I want other people who are living with type 1 to know that there are safe ways to be physically active, and it's much better than avoiding it.
Let's talk about why low blood sugars can be so darn alarming for a type 1 diabetic.
Oh, first of all, they feel very scary, but also
you become disoriented?
Yes. You can become unconscious, have seizures. In some cases, people have even been known to die overnight. So it's a very real fear of exercise. But I went 32 years without exercising, only to run into complications from not exercising.
So you're going to attack it from the other end this time?
I'm going to try to.
All right, and so the perils of your life becomes your AC1 number, right?
Absolutely.
Explain what that is to everybody.
A1C is a measure of what your blood glucose is over the long haul. I like to say that my goal is to sort of keep my blood sugar between the high lines and the low lines on my pump. And it's a balancing act.
And this, people say, well, why? It's a big deal because a big chunk of our population is facing either D1 or D2 diet.
Yes, and type 2s face just as much of a challenge in being physically active because for some of them, blood sugar drops can result from exercise depending on the kind of medication they're taking. And there's also the stigma that many people are living with being overweight and the insinuation that they're not active. I trained with a type 2 when I was training for Ironman Texas, who you would look at him and not recognize that he was an athlete, but he most certainly was. He could swim faster and harder than I could for a good 3 or 4 miles.
Wow. All right, so let's talk about the path. The journey is going to take you where?
From Newport Beach, which is the closest town to Disneyland, to Melbourne, Florida, which is the closest town I could find on safe roads to Disney World.
And the purpose of this is just to create awareness?
Just to let people know that at least one other person out there is doing it, and they're like them and taking little steps at a time. What
part of this journey scares you the most?
Cars.
Yeah, I suppose, right? The traffic?
Yeah. We had, when I was running across Texas this past April, I had a low blood sugar episode that was kind of scary, but it was a place I had been before. It was a challenge that my wife recognized and knew how to treat with a glucagon rescue kit. It's the things that I don't see a lot of, weird stuff happening on the road that you don't have any way of anticipating.
Well, what a journey this is going to be. And how can people follow along with you?
They can check my website at t1determined.org.
Aptly named.
Or follow the hashtag DonSolo on social.
And so when this journey is over, many weeks from now, I suspect you're going to find yourself right in that chair again, and we're going to be talking about all the great people, all the great moments you had.
I certainly hope so.
All right. Is that a promise?
I will make it out here one way or the other.
All right, Don. Thank you very much. We wish you nothing but success and a safe journey.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Don MUCHOW, everybody.